Welcome back to the Intersint podcast. My name is Mike,
I'm Kaneez.
and this is episode 11, I believe.
Yes.
It's crazy that we're in double digits now. It doesn't feel like we've been doing this for that long.
Not at all. It feels like we just started. And I was looking back at like when we started recording the first episode. I think it was back in April.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
That feels like 3 years ago at this point.
It does.
So on big news right off the bat, you're feeling better.
I am. I tested negative on Sunday.
I was thinking about it. I haven't gotten to hear back the episode yet, but I feel like your energy was at like a 2 that entire episode.
I'm editing that now, and just listening back to it, I just sound so terrible. And like how I just didn't want to be there. And I was like just trying really hard just to make it sound more upbeat than I actually was.
Oh, I get that entirely. I feel like, I don't know if you know for sure, but I feel like I was talking about 99% of the time.
You were carrying that episode for sure.
I was just trying to like get things going, and I could see that you did not want to like use up much energy. So if you listen to that last episode and you're like, wow, that was very low energy. I mean,
That one sucked.
that was expected.
Yes. On a somewhat related note, I gave myself a scare the other day.
Oh.
I was going back to bed, realized I didn't set my alarm, and I turned over. And right as I was about to turn over, I had a split-second realization that I was at the edge of the bed. And so I grabbed the edge of the bed before I fell. And in that second, I knew what Mufasa felt like before Scar killed him.
We're gonna need to get you those like baby bumper things that
No,
you
I
put on the
don't need
side of
those.
the fire.
No, I'm not old. I'm not a baby. I'm a perfectly functioning human.
Are you the type of like woman that you start in one position in the bed, and then by the time you wake up, your covers and stuff are thrown astrew and you're all over the bed?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know I kick and punch in my sleep, which makes sense with the amount of bruises I wake up with. But surprisingly, I wake up almost in the same position I fell asleep in.
Oh, wow. Like you know that meme with like they'll show the bed and they're like it's like 90% and it's like her side and then my side 10%. I've had girlfriends like that where I literally had to fight for my life to reclaim bed space so I could move around. So they're just moving all over the place. I'm like, stay still. Just stay on your side.
I guess it makes sense then in like the 1920s where people slept in separate beds, or couples slept in separate beds.
I get it. Not having to fight over covers and play tug of war in the middle of the night, have a sleep.
Exactly.
Well, good thing you didn't fall out of the bed.
Yeah, I saved my life that day.
I mean, I can't make too many jokes. I honestly did that maybe a few months ago too, where same thing. I went to roll over and then my shoulder fell off, and like,
oh no,
as I was rolling, and my brain like kicked into, oh no, we're gonna fall out the bed type thing. Have you ever fallen out of the bed?
Surprisingly, no.
I feel like I did once.
I probably did when I was a kid, for like 8 or 9.
That's what I mean, like in your entire lifetime.
Okay, yeah, then yes, I have.
I feel like I have. It could just be like a false memory, but I do remember like being asleep and then waking up on the floor crying. And I just fell off.
I know my stuffies fall off the bed
really?
in the middle of the night, and then I'll realize in the morning, and I'll just be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me save you."
Luckily it's kind of stopped, but I believe it's like a few days last week where I was waking. Oh, wow, I cannot talk.
You're pulling a me here.
I know what is going on. Where I would wake up in the morning, and it's as if I tied myself together with my sheets, and I don't know what I've done in my sleep, but like I'm now like untangling my limbs from the sheets and like to get out of bed.
You told me you did that, and all I could imagine was like you in a pretzel in your sheets, and then just spending like 5 minutes untangling yourself.
I don't know what I do, and it's not always like there are nights where I wake up in the position I fell asleep in, but there's other nights where it looks like a tornado went through my bed, and I don't know what happened.
This is why you sleep with a comforter instead of a bed sheet.
I even bought a weighted blanket.
And even that got tangled?
That works. It did work for about a month, and then I guess I got used to it, and then that just started getting thrown all about. So I think the weighted blanket just helped me build muscle while I sleep.
It's like a little workout.
Pretty much. I did actually just see that they revised the sleep study stuff.
Really?
I never had one, but I've seen pictures and I've heard stories of like when you're trying to get a sleep study done, there's just a million wires everywhere.
I think I've had one when I was a kid because I basically had insomnia, or like I couldn't fall asleep within like a normal chunk of time.
Oh, okay.
And so I just remember as a kid, I was always like lugged out to hospitals, and they just put like wires on my head, and then they make me stay up like the night before. So I was just like, my parents would just do everything they could to like keep me awake. And then even like while they were doing the study, I couldn't fall asleep. And so they were just like, you can just close your eyes, it's fine. I'm like, damn it, this defeats the whole purpose.
Exactly. But apparently now they fixed it, so now there's not as many wires and it's actually minimalistic that can actually pull the same amount of data somehow.
Interesting.
So now that they have all that, I'm like, okay, maybe now I can take what sleep study does and see what is going on to why I can't get a good enough sleep.
It just always was annoying afterwards having to take a shower to get all like the glue off of my hair.
Glue? They glue it?
Yeah, it's basically like how the stickers go onto your chest for an EKG.
Oh, I didn't know that's how they did that.
Yeah. They basically like stick stickers into your scalp and like pin it.
Weird. In my head, I've always imagined just like a helmet that they put on you with all these wires coming out of it.
No.
That's why I was like, okay, yeah, that does sound uncomfortable. And like, why would anyone want that? That makes more sense now.
Yeah. See if I can find a picture. So now you can imagine me and how I looked as a kid.
Okay, that makes more sense. Why it's annoying.
Yeah, it wasn't as invasive, but it was annoying. Although, I did get a cookie right afterwards because they told me to eat something, so my dad would take me to the cafeteria at the hospital and get me food.
Aww.
And that was the highlight of my day.
I mean, that's great motivation, if any, to be good.
It's like a reward.
That's kind of like when we go, like, if you ever go to Costco, when you're done checking out, it's like, I'm going to go stop by the cafe and get a cookie. Like, that was my reward for being good while shopping.
They got rid of the churro because of it.
Yeah.
The churro was the best. It's a fucking $1.
I feel like I've tried the churro.
You have.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't that memorable then if I did.
We need to try the chocolate and vanilla ice cream swirl. That, it brings back so many good memories.
So as we mentioned before, I have a problem of not looking at everything.
You do.
So I went hiking with some friends, and the one wore a Costco shirt. It says something along the lines of like Costco $1 hot dog, and on the back showed the menu item of the hot dog. Everyone on the trail was like, every time we passed them, they'd be like, "Oh, Costco hot dogs sound really good right now." So he's like advertising this entire time. So on the way back to the car, I'm like, what if we just go to Costco and get food since we did this huge hike? And there's 4 of us. So we go in, and obviously my go-to, pizza.
Of course.
And I got that, and I saw, oh, there's a mango smoothie. I didn't know they had that. I'm getting a mango smoothie.
Ooh.
By the way, not very good.
Yeah, I don't really like their smoothies all that much.
So I'm like, cool. And I'm like, I sit down and I'm all happy. And the next guy sits down and he has chicken bake, which I'm like, okay, that looks delicious. I'd never tried that. But he also had like a chocolate, I think that's the thing you're talking about, the chocolate milkshake thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait, where did you find that at? And then next time I sit down with like 2 things I never saw before. I'm like, wait, that was on the menu too? Like, I'm always so hyper focused on one item that I don't pay attention to the whole menu.
Oh, you really don't. Even like when shopping, you just have horse blinders on and just have one focus of getting in and out.
I want to be as like efficient as possible whenever it comes to shopping.
But that's when you miss things in the world, okay?
But is it missing something if I don't actually need it?
Open your horizons.
I don't know. I make a list and I'm like, okay, here's what I need. I know exactly where that is. Boom, 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 boom. I find the most efficient path to go, and I'm done. And I'm in and out. Because when I don't, when I stray from that path, because this happens, and I've told you about this.
He's coming at us with logic here.
Or I'll be like, oh, I'm going to go down this aisle because I never go down there. Oh, here's a new Pop-Tart that I never heard of. I'm going to buy that. Oh, here's 2 bags of chips because there's a sale. I'm going to buy that. Then I gain like 10 pounds over the week because I buy all this junk food that I don't need because I explored. I have no self-control over snacks.
The moral of your story is don't explore.
Yes.
Got it.
Stick to what you know and everything is safe.
It's like a little bubble.
Pretty much. That's why when it comes to, like we said with the Trader Joe's stuff,
Mhm.
if you don't tell me about it, I never would look, because even on the items I do get, I'm like, I know where that is in the aisle, like the freezer area. So I'm just going to skip over everything else and just grab the things I need and move on. I don't know. It works for me, and it prevents me from buying things I don't need.
That, and you also do it on a weekday, so I get having to do that after work, and you just want to be home. So that's understandable.
Especially, oh man, I got stuck into so much traffic yesterday.
You're so mad yesterday.
I was furious. I finally got out on time because I already was just over work, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, by the way, so we should mention this. It is the 4th of July right now that we're recording this.
We are dating this, yes.
You may hear explosions in the background, and that's what that is.
Yeah, mine, it's already started here.
And it's daytime. It's not nighttime. So
No.
while you were saying something, I heard like 2 go off in the background. So I'm like, we should probably,
Say something.
just in case it does get picked up on the mics. And I hate it. Like, tonight's going to be miserable to sleep because people are going to be up until like 2 in the morning blowing things up.
Be careful.
I hate it. There's one last night. I'm editing last night, and I have my balcony door open, and I swear it's like right outside the balcony. That's how loud it was. I jumped so hard that I threw my mouse because I was not expecting an explosion outside.
Oh, I was taking a walk not too long ago, and this was around 2:30 in the afternoon, and people have already started. It's like, why? First of all, because you can't see anything.
They like the boom. They really like POD. That's a really dated reference right there. You probably don't even know what I'm talking about.
I probably don't. I was sheltered as a child.
Have you ever heard the band POD?
No.
Okay, yeah, they're very old. But they had a song. It's like, boom, here comes the boom, radio now. It wasn't even funny. It was a dated reference. I doubt anyone will know what I'm talking about.
Which, now that you bring up POD, I was at Safeway the other day. Okay, this might be coming off as a dirty joke. I swear it's not.
Oh no.
But the drink, POG or POG.
POG? I don't even know what those are.
The drink?
Yeah, what are those?
It's passion fruit, orange, and guava.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
It sounds delicious, but there is a category on the internet. So I'm guessing the creators of the drink realized what their drink was called and have officially changed it to spelling each fruit out on their new labeling. And I saw that the other day and I just had to bust out laughing.
Yeah, because when I did this search right now, I did POG drink.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I've ever seen that container before.
It's like the initials,
Yeah.
POG, right? Yeah.
But now I took away the word drink, and now I just have a bunch of frogs with an open mouth at me.
Uh-oh. They realized that nothing on the internet can be translated onto real life.
No, not at all. The same thing goes with the D's nuts. And like there was a nut company that made D's nuts companies.
Mm-hmm.
And like, first of all, dated. That happened a long time ago. How long did it take you to make this company in the first place? But secondly, that's hilarious.
It's very smart.
So POG is just the mouth open thing, right?
I don't know, actually. All I've heard is like people saying it's like a dirty thing.
Oh, is it?
I don't know. I'm innocent here, okay? You see this angelic halo over my head.
We've talked about this on like episode 2, and yes, it's held up by horns. Still the same as episode 2.
That's rude.
This really shows how old I am that I'm on a website to tell me the meaning of what the word POG is.
Urban Dictionary.
Pretty much. The term POG is a slang term that means awesome, remarkable, or excellent.
Really?
Which I can understand. Like, here's what the image is. Like, here's the one I know.
Oh, that's Pepe.
Well, Pepe, yes, but he's doing the POG of the mouth open thing.
Okay.
And that's all I ever know is like, when people say POG or poggers, it's another big thing with streamers. They're referring to that phase.
Interesting.
Where do these fads even come from? Is it one person who accidentally says something and they're like, oh, that's gonna stick?
Yeah, I've always thought about that.
Like, obviously, it has to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know a lot of stuff on the internet originate off 4chan.
Oh.
And we've had this discussion of you, or at least used to start on 4chan. It's now TikTok. I feel like the origination of a lot of it is TikTok.
The images, though, like, I'm specifically thinking of like the advice animal memes.
Oh, like the lizard and whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's old.
That's very, very old. But I feel like that was always on like what, 9gag and stuff.
Wow. You just like opened something that I forgot existed.
I feel like it's just one of those things of like someone just threw a picture onto a background with text and there's just a ton of them and some of them stuck and some of them didn't. I feel like that's how it had to have worked.
That's like with the crazy ex-girlfriend and good guy Brian.
Yeah.
Where are those guys, by the way?
I've wondered that too. And now we have the new tuah girl.
I was gonna bring that up. I had that on my list to bring up.
Like her life just changed completely after that.
It's funny because she deleted her social media, like everything, way before she became famous, and so everyone had a hard time finding her.
Oh wow. It's so crazy that like just this one moment.
And just in her southern accent, it's so funny.
It's so crazy how one tiny little moment just changed her life completely.
Oh yeah. That's the same thing with the Chick-fil-A sauce girl.
I know nothing about that one. What is that?
So this girl is working at Chick-fil-A. Her sister comes in to place an order and she's like, "Do you want any sauce with that? Any Chick-fil-A sauce?" And the sister goes, "No." And the sister taking the order, she's like, "No Chick-fil-A sauce?"
I think I've seen like images of the video, but I never actually watched the video.
This is gonna be a video, but you can watch it later. I'll link it.
Yeah, that's I've just from the still image, I've seen that girl, but I never knew much about her.
Now I want to do street interviews just for the minuscule chance of becoming famous.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like that one guy who did an interview. I think it was in Alabama or something. But the person asking the questions was like, in a house fire, you had the opportunity to save your mom, your wife, your pet, or something else. And this one dude goes like, "I'm not saving my wife or my mom, maybe my pet." And then like the day after it blew up, his wife wanted a divorce.
Oh.
I'm like, that just backfired on him completely. Like she just kicked him out of the house.
But at that point, with something like that, I feel like she was already thinking about it. She just needed a reason.
True.
And that was her reason. Like,
that was her breaking point.
Or it's just a very short fuse of an anger. Like,
true, yeah.
Either way, it sounds like he dodged a bullet.
I guess, sure. But then, like, I think news companies like caught up to him and they wanted to interview him, but that happened as he was like taking his stuff out of the house to get out.
That's hilarious.
And then he was like trying to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm super tough. I don't need her, and blah. I'll find some other bitch and blah blah blah." And then like the people doing the interview was like, "Okay, yeah, thanks for the interview." And then like they caught him like 2 minutes later, just crying into his phone, begging her to take him back.
Aww.
I'm like, dude, you can't be like all Mr. Tough Guy on one side, and like it's not like she won't see it at this point.
I feel like something about that doesn't add up. Where it's like I feel like she's been wanting it the entire time.
Yeah.
But also, it makes me wonder too with like these news articles. It's like if you had to do an interview for a news thing, are you just going crazy to like hope that it goes famous?
It depends on what the question is. Like if it's something like more life related, I'd be like giving advice or something and being more serious about it. But if it's something like, I forget what like the hawk to a girl was asked to make her go that way.
I just know it somehow went into blowjobs.
It did, yeah. See, okay, something like that, I'd be making the most insane joke.
I feel like this whole thing of people going viral off of like news articles or these things, it's just making people just be crazy now in these things to hope that they get viral.
It's either that or they really don't give a fuck and they just have that personality naturally.
True.
Because, like, with the Hawk Tuah girl, she never had any social media. She deleted everything. She had no intention of getting famous.
True.
That's been living in my head rent free for like the longest time now.
I hope that she takes all this and she's being smart with her money and stuff because it's not going to last forever. So
she's been invited by a few bands to like perform on stage for something.
What?
Yeah.
That is insane.
I think. I'm not quite sure. It may have been just lookalikes, but it's insane.
Yeah, the one I saw on Reddit was she was hanging out with Shaq. I was like, what the fuck?
Like, dude.
I think Penguin Zero did a video on it too. I just didn't watch that one yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Anyways, so in other news, a Korean robot killed itself.
Sweet. So I guess it really is human.
I know. This article is hilarious. They had to like talk to witnesses about why the robot or what the robot was doing. And they were saying like, oh, the robot was circling in one place before it jumped. So is that like the robot thinking about it and like pacing back and forth?
It was just going over it in its computer chip motherboard, all its life situations and what it did to get to this point.
Yeah, so they pretty much had it for a year and then it just threw itself down the steps and destroyed itself.
I mean, it was, in this article, said it was a civil servant. So you're dealing with people. It makes sense.
It really does. It reminds me of do you remember that news article when they had like a mall security robot thing and it killed itself in the first hour by going into the pool?
I saw that.
That's all this is like, except this one was working for a year and was like, okay, I'm done.
No more. I don't want to be like humans. Fuck this. It's so weird with how far it's come. Because you remember like the whole Sophia thing?
Oh, whatever happened to Sophia?
I have no clue.
That was like the one that was like the front half was like skin-like, and then the back half was robot, right?
That was the one where it looked completely human.
Well, completely human, except for the fact that there's a computer in the back half that you can see.
Apparently, they shut her down.
What?
I think. That's what I'm seeing on Google now.
It's very, very creepy.
I don't like it.
Like in some aspects, you can see that it looks almost real, but there's just something unnerving about it that doesn't look real.
Yeah, because they took facial features from different women in history to make her.
No, I get that, but I just mean like the face looks almost too perfect in a way that it doesn't look real.
No. Yeah. Ugh. I'm looking at her now. Or it, I guess.
Well, speaking of that, there's also been another improvement in the robotics world.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one.
Where they managed to get a robot that has living skin on it.
It's smiling. Ugh.
I think we'll take a snippet of this. Like, it's a video, but
Please
we'll put a still image on the Instagram. It's slimy. It's
like, just imagine slime that kids play with and just putting googly eyes on it and it's smiling back at you.
It's so, it looks so creepy.
I mean, as a kid, I guess this would really be the snack that smiles back.
But also, like, scroll down on the article to see the other one.
I don't like that.
So the one like we're talking about is like a 2D robot that they did. And then they did another one that the best way to describe the 3D one is it's like Dwight in The Office when he cuts off the mannequin's face and puts it on his face. That's what this looks like. If this is what robots in the future look like, no thank you.
Take me out. Take me out before this comes into reality.
Like, imagine like you're gonna get killed by a robot, but that's worse enough. But imagine if it had the skin on it too. Like, that makes it so much more worse.
Like, imagine not even skin. Imagine if it had like real human functions, like blinking eyelids and a tongue.
Oh, I don't know why, but the tongue just feels worse.
No, yeah, that's a no. Which, I don't know why this just came into my head, but do you remember those baby dolls when we were kids?
Why would I know anything about baby dolls?
I don't know, but like those little doll baby things that little girls would play with had like a little bottle with it. Where would the fucking milk go?
Oh, I think is that the one that can go to the bathroom too?
I think so.
I think it just goes into like a canister to then be emptied into the toilet.
I don't know. Ugh.
Why were we obsessed with like hyper realistic baby dolls back in the day?
I have no clue.
We had that and we had the furbies, which were also very creepy.
No, yuck.
The craziest thing about a Furby
Mm.
is my friends told me this story once of they bought a house and one day they're out. It's like they finally got the house all done and whatnot, and they're outside at a fire and just like relaxing in the night.
Mhm.
And they heard something talking in the woods, and they're like, "What the hell was that?" So they go into the woods, which, as we talked about, I think it was last episode, white people shit to go investigate the noise.
Of course.
So they go and they go to figure out, and they keep hearing this voice talking, and they could not figure it out. Finally, they located where it was coming from, and they had to dig, and it was underground, and it was a Furby underground talking.
Ugh, what the fuck?
I know.
I don't like that.
Why did it come alive all of a sudden?
This was back in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah,
Why were you surrounded by so many creepy things?
because it's mainly rednecks and woods. There's gonna be the
That makes
rednecks are already
sense.
scary enough.
Like you with your ghost stories, you with this story. Like I just feel like you were living in a different dimension and you just came to Earth.
It feels like that, honestly. So I had like a not very great idea. We were at a friend's house, and right across the street from his house was a giant field.
Mhm.
And I had the great idea of like, oh, there's times, and I used to do this as a kid, where like my dad would go driving, and then I had a giant spotlight, and you shine the giant spotlight through the field to look for deer.
Okay.
It was the country. That's what we did for fun.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Sounds fun.
You would often see rednecks and like hunters doing that, like browsing the fields, trying to see where deer were so that they can go hunting the next day.
Okay.
I always thought, and I said this out loud to friends. I was like, what if we dress up as zombies? And when we see the spotlight start coming down, we pop up out of the cornfield and start walking towards them. This is where my common sense drops off, because they were instantly like, Mike, they have guns. What are you talking about? We are going to last 5 seconds doing that, and then we're going to be killed.
So I guess you were probably the mastermind behind the whole 2016 clown takeover, I guess.
I was paranoid about that.
I hated that so much.
Even like going to take the dog out and stuff, I'm like, now I got to watch out for fucking clowns in the woods. Where did that even come from? Like, how did that start?
I think it was a promotion for a movie, of some sort of horror movie.
Oh, and then people just took it out of hand.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But robots.
Yes. So the point of the skin, as terrifying as it looks, is actually kind of cool. They are using it because like the skin that they made is self-healing, like ours is.
That's interesting.
I mean, first off, they say it's like to make the robots more lifelike, which no, stop on that. We don't need to do that. But they're using it too in like a way to also be used on humans, which I think is a cool way to go about it.
It's definitely really cool.
I don't know. The future would be awesome of
Medical or like anything science related would be drastically changed, because then you wouldn't really need to sit there for skin grafts, I guess.
exactly. Yeah. Like imagine you lose your arm.
Mm-hmm.
So they put a robot arm on you, and then they have this fake skin stuff that can merge into your skin and work together.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think that's where we're leading with that. And I mean, I'm on board for that.
If it progresses in medicine, I'm all for that.
As long as Elon doesn't get his hands on this.
Yeah.
We need to keep this to the scientists and not.
A word to the Japanese people doing this. Do not sell it to Elon, please.
So there's one thing too. I don't want to keep harping on this, but with the Cybertrucks coming out, and like now they're being more prevalent, and now they had their yet again another recall, and now all the trucks have to go back. There's one issue with that truck that I never thought about. That is, if you're driving down the road and there's a police car behind you, you can't see the police car.
You can't see it?
No, because you have the thing over the back window.
Oh, right.
So all you have is a camera, and a guy who owns the Cybertruck posted a video of a cop behind him for at least like 20 minutes, and the guy wasn't stopping because he didn't know. Like he went home and he put up a light behind his truck, and then he showed through the camera that the light doesn't really come through the cameras on the back of the truck. So to his view, it just looked like a car that was behind him, and he didn't notice.
That's hilarious.
how bad can you design a vehicle? And it's like just from the ground up, it's so poorly designed.
I feel like this all started as a meme.
The truck itself.
The truck itself started as a meme, and Elon wanted to make it happen. And instead of saying, oh yeah, this was a joke after everybody started paying for it, they just went along with it.
Honestly, I could fully see that. I get that.
It's hilarious too, because like not a lot of insurance companies, or I've heard, will even cover the Cybertruck.
Oh, we were just talking about this at work.
Oh, really?
Like, how did this even get through safety inspections?
Exactly.
Like, I feel like they bypassed the safety thing, which then, does that mean a lawsuit's coming in?
I would hope so. I need to see this thing off the road.
Yeah.
That is my dream before I die.
So, a terrifying thing happened. We talked about a couple episodes ago how I'm terrified of the ocean.
You are, yes.
One other thing that I'm terrified of, and it just feels like I shouldn't be, is sinkholes.
Yeah, that and like I remember as a kid, quicksand was definitely a thing that was like drilled into our heads.
I was gonna say that same exact thing.
We don't have that here. We
don't.
never will. Sinkholes, yes.
Well, that's the thing, is like I've always put sinkholes in the same categories as quicksand.
Oh, really? So you didn't hear about the one that happened in 2017, 16?
Where?
It's a town called Oso. It's by Mount Rainier, and I think 25 people died. It was a giant sinkhole.
Like the reason I put it
or
in like
landslide. Sorry.
Oh, that's different.
Wait, let me see. Landslide or sinkhole?
Either way, the ground's falling.
It's a landslide. Sorry, I was wrong. It's a landslide, not a sinkhole.
Isn't that the one that like completely blocked off that one road and they had to be diverted like 3 hours around the mountain to get somewhere?
I think so. Yeah.
One thing about Washington, their road system fucking sucks.
It does.
We
It
have
really
3
does.
roads that run east to west over the mountains, and if one of them go down, you now have like a 6-hour delay on your route.
Yep.
So I've always put the sinkholes with like quicksand because it's just one of those things of we don't really hear about them, so it's nothing to worry about.
You don't.
It wasn't until like I moved out here shortly after that there was a sinkhole in the city of Pittsburgh and like a bus got like sunk down the road, and luckily no one really got hurt, but it's just this image of a bus out of the road and like sticking up, and that's when I'm like, oh shit, this is like a thing that happens more often than I thought.
That reminds me though too, because like speaking of natural disasters, did you hear about Mount St. Helens like potentially getting ready to erupt again?
No.
Yeah. So earthquake activity around Mount St. Helens spiked to nearly 350 earthquakes between February 1st and June 18th of this year.
That's a lot of earthquakes.
So people are saying that it might recharge an eruption.
That'd be cool to see from a distance.
That'd be cool to see if I was in space.
That's the one thing about Washington is we're surrounded by volcanoes,
We are.
which is very terrifying, and you kind of just put in the back of your head and you don't think about very much.
You don't, but then they also are trying, at least, to get people prepared for the big one, which, for those of you not in the Pacific Northwest region, the big one is supposed to be an earthquake that is supposed to trigger a tsunami that's supposed to pretty much engulf the entire western region of Oregon and Washington.
Yeah, pretty much mostly everything will just be underwater and gone.
Pretty much. And they're saying that you have to be prepared for at least 2 weeks of not having internet, water, food, any basic necessity that you need. And so none of us are prepared.
It's the biggest reason why I'm like trying to move farther inland away from the waters.
Where would you even go?
I don't know, but knowing my luck, it's gonna be like the day right before I'm supposed to move is when it happens. And I'm like, damn it. But the reason I brought up the sinkhole was because there's one that just happened in Illinois just a few days ago.
Oh, okay, whoa. There's your East Coast coming out.
What?
Illinois.
Illinois?
You said Illinois.
Is it Illinois though?
It's Illinois. The S is silent.
That reminds me of we have a town here, and this also in a capital of the state, but Des Moines.
Yes.
I always pronounce it Des Moines.
Yes.
And I never put together that they both end in ES and they're both silent. It wasn't until I said it and the one person's like, what did you just say?
I'm sorry, what?
Pretty much exactly how you reacted with Illinois.
Aw.
Why is there an S if we don't pronounce the S? It's there for a reason. We pronounce the S. But yeah, so it happened in Illinois. Luckily, no one was on. It was on a soccer field, and luckily, no one was on it. But how terrifying is that? That you could be walking anywhere, and the ground just disappears from underneath you.
I don't like that. I like knowing where I'm standing and I'm gonna be home alive.
I've always wondered, like, me getting home and like my apartment just doesn't exist anymore because a sinkhole opened up underneath and just sank everything.
Swallowed everything. Yeah. I don't like that.
That's terrifying. That you could just be walking and then all of a sudden it's like someone selects the ground and hits delete and you just fall through.
I don't know what's worse. Being caught in some sort of invasion, a robbery, break-in, or a natural disaster like a sinkhole.
That's a very good question. I feel like the natural disaster one would be worse because with the break-in one, you have control over.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah, to a degree, like not
to an extent, yes.
But for natural disaster, like say there was a tornado, you're like, well, fuck, we don't know what's gonna happen here.
Oh, look, a cow.
It's not like I can go out there and like fight the tornado and win.
Have you seen those videos of like people in the Midwest, at least, when there's like a tornado watch? All like the dads or like the older guys would just go outside the door and stand looking at it.
That would be me.
Like, are you crazy?
That would be me.
That would be you.
I always said I've always wanted to see a tornado in person.
Yeah. Let's go to Kansas.
It'd be terrifying. Like I've seen videos with like storm chasers thinking they were prepared and then it turns on them and like hits their car and like I could not imagine how scary that would be.
That's like with hurricanes, like let alone you're being engulfed around you by air and water.
Yeah, where's Aang?
I was waiting for a joke. Like Katar's bad now. Uh-oh. This is a domestic dispute.
That's how we get hurricanes.
Qatar and Aang just having a dispute.
But it blows my mind how people are always like, oh yeah, there's a hurricane that happens every year, but we're not going to go anywhere. You can't make us leave our house. It's like, if it happens every year, just leave. You know it's going to destroy everything.
It's like with people here in wildfires. They don't leave until the very last minute. It's like, what are you expecting?
Yeah, are you expecting like, oh, you can go out there with the garden hose and fight it yourself?
Oh no, like the fire's just gonna come at you. Oh, sorry, let's wrong house.
Go around the house and burn everything else. Which I'm waiting for that to happen now. Like we always get fires up in Canada, we get fires down in Oregon and California. So then there's part of the years where it's just completely smoke outside.
Yeah, it started. It's not as bad, but it started. Just wait until tomorrow when all the 4th of July shit's over and we're gonna hear news of like some rogue fireworks starting a wildfire.
Oh, 100%. It happens every year. What would be like the most terrifying natural disaster?
An earthquake, I guess.
Earthquakes are scary. I think I was talking to you the one night. We were chatting about stuff and I was like, I'm pretty sure an earthquake just happened. And you're like, what are you talking about?
I didn't feel anything.
You didn't feel anything? Like, I've faintly felt it, but it's only because I looked over at my water sitting on my desk and I saw the water splashing back and forth on the cup and like, that's not normal. What is going on there?
I think I was in one when I was like about 7 years old. Because I remember like getting underneath our dining room table.
But you were in San Francisco at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that makes more sense. The very few I've been in were terrifying to the fact of like, oh, the entire ground that everything is resting on is moving.
Wait, so what do you think would be the worst natural disaster to get caught in?
Oh boy. I think sinkholes are up there. Only because I mean, earthquake is a very good answer.
Mm-hmm.
But they both deal with the same thing of it just is sudden, happens out of nowhere, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Because, like, at least with tornadoes,
you can go underground.
Yeah. Hey, everyone, just to be aware that this might happen. Like, we get that warning.
Mm-hmm.
Hurricanes, we know a month in advance when those are happening.
Exactly.
But I feel like with those, they're just so unexpected that's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's like that calm, panic, calm meme.
I love that meme.
That's pretty much exactly what it is with the earthquakes. We have that asteroid that's going to be close.
Yeah.
I think that's coming up soon, or it might be in a few days that's happening.
I hope it hits us. End it all.
Actually, it's one of those things that, yeah, this episode is going to come out after that happens, I think. So
if this comes out, that means we lived, unfortunately.
I was talking about this with someone, but I could be wrong. But wouldn't, when it passes, for anyone who doesn't know, there's a giant asteroid that's like, they say about the size of the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to cruise between the moon and Earth, which is a very big distance.
But then again, not really.
In the grand scheme of space, that's really not that big of a difference or a big of a gap to go through. My thought is, when it passes by Earth, isn't our gravity going to affect the trajectory of the asteroid?
Depends on how close it gets.
But the moon's close enough that our gravity affects it. So if it's between the moon and the Earth, our gravity is going to affect it.
True. Fuck. True. You're right.
Whenever it passes by, sure, it's going to miss us, but doesn't that mean it's going to be just a tiny bit closer the next time it comes around?
Does that mean we might get a new moon?
That'd be cool. Then we can race to that one.
Put our flag on that one, too.
We'll build a bridge between both moons. We'll have both of them. Sky bridge.
Take it literally. I'm now imagining a giant bridge between that asteroid, moon, and Mars.
Oh, the scariest part about all this, didn't even talk about this part, is that we just discovered this asteroid that's going to go between the moon and the Earth. How are we just now discovering this thing?
When we have shit that can discover things light years away.
I think that's the most terrifying part of, oh yeah, this just showed up. And it's going to, don't worry guys, it's going to miss us. Are you sure about that?
You've been wrong before.
It just makes me think of Don't Look Up.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, what if there's like a giant Earth-ending asteroid heading towards us and we haven't seen it yet? It's like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, we have like 3 months left.
Good luck.
But yeah, hopefully the asteroid doesn't hit us. Or hopefully it does, then we don't have to worry about anything anymore.
We can safely skip the 2024 presidential election. It is a win-win.
Yeah, definitely with that topic, yes. That's going to do it for us this week. If you liked everything, be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, do all that internet stuff.
Yeah.
And go follow all of our socials over at Intersint Pod, and we will see you next week.